Hi there, my name is John Stevens, pastor of Zion Lutheran Church in Oregon City, Oregon, and we're part of the ELCA. And this is Dollar Store Children's Sermons, where we take a look at the lectionary text and we tie them to an item from the dollar store. And this is for Sunday, September 7th, which is the first Sunday out of the narrative lectionary year, and it is Flood and Promise. It is also the 13th Sunday after Pentecost. So we are looking at the preaching text, which is Genesis 6, and looking at Flood and Promise. And mostly we are looking at the promise that God makes, and that God does not forget God's promises, and all the different ways that God makes that promise to us and promises never to forget it. And with that tie into with the flood and promise and the optional gospel lessons out of Matthew where Jesus calms the storm, that tie in for water, and we can talk about baptism and how in God's promise to us in baptism, that promise is secure. And so the item I'm going to use from the dollar store is, I've used it a couple of times. You get mileage out of it, but it is this roll of twine, and you can find it in the automotive and the tool section of the Dollar Tree. But a thing of twine, you might have your own rope, but what I'm going to talk about is the different ways that we remember things. We want to remember things, and I'm going to talk here that I tie it on my finger. I can tie a little bit on my finger, and that reminds me that I'm supposed to remember something. If I make a promise or I need to remember to bring something to work, I can tie this on my finger, and that there are ways that we can be reminded that God has made a promise to us when we come up for communion, dipping our fingers in the water and making the sign of the cross. When we take a shower, when we walk in the rain, we're reminded about how God has promised us to be faithful to us, and that. And then, you tie it on here. But then the other thing is grab another adult or another kid, and you have them hold this end, and you loop the entire children's sermon. Everyone's sitting there in the children's sermon. If you have enough string, you could loop the entire congregation. I've done it with a big roll of rope where we walk around the entire congregation, and not the building, but the people, and about how God envelops us, God wraps us in God's love and promises never to let us go. So anyway, that's the children's sermon for September 7th on the narrative lectionary, Flood and Promise. So hope you can use it, or hope it's a springboard for your worship. So thanks for stopping by, and I hope you have a blessed week.